My wife said, "Your salary goes into our account. My salary is my business." I said, "That's one way to do it." Then I did it another way. Her shock when the joint account had a $0 balance and her name removed. I'm Mason Rodriguez, 38, construction project manager in Denver, making about 78Ks. Been married to Harper for 6 years. She's a marketing coordinator, pulling in 58K. Started out normal enough. Both our paychecks went into joint checking. We split bills like adults. That lasted exactly 2 years. Year 3, Harper got promoted to senior coordinator. Good for her, right? Wrong. That's when she dropped the bomb during dinner one Tuesday. "Mason, I've been thinking. Now that I'm making more, I need my own financial security. You know, in case something happens." Made sense on the surface. Women should have independence. I'm not some caveman who controls his wife's money. But then came the kicker. Your paycheck should handle our expenses. You're the man, the provider. My income goes to my personal account for emergencies and investments. When I questioned it, she hit me with the classics. "Don't you trust me?" And this is how successful couples operate. She'd researched it, she said, had articles bookmarked about financial independence in marriage. Young and conflict-averse. My parents' messy divorce taught me to avoid fights at all costs. I agreed. Figured we'd adjust later. That was 4 years ago. For 4 years, every penny I earned went into our joint account. I covered the mortgage on our 280K house, utilities, groceries, insurance, both car payments, vacations, everything. Meanwhile, Harper's 58K disappeared into her emergency fund. She'd buy designer purses, get monthly spa treatments, take girls' trips to Aspen. When I'd mention maybe contributing to household expenses, she'd say, "That's what husbands do. My money is for building our future security." The guys at work started noticing. Tony, my lead foreman, pulled me aside after I turned down another poker night. "Rodriguez, you good? You used to grab beers with us." "Just tight this month," I'd say. Every month. "Man, Harper working too, right? Y'all both bringing in decent money." I'd change the subject. "How do you explain your wife has never paid a single bill while you're eating ramen for lunch? Because the joint account's always empty. 3 months ago, everything changed. Our water heater died. Repair guy quoted $3,500 for replacement. The joint account had $2,100 after monthly bills. Harper, the water heater's gonna cost $3,500. Can you help out since we're short this month? That's a house expense. Use the joint account. There's only $2,100 left. Then figure it out. Pick up overtime or something." I stared at her. "Your salary goes into our account. My salary is my business?" I asked, echoing her words back. "Exactly. Now stop complaining." That night, I did math. 4 years of this arrangement. Harper had contributed exactly $0 to household expenses while accumulating roughly $120,000 in her personal accounts, not counting what she'd spent on herself. Meanwhile, I'd paid approximately $201,600 in living expenses from my income alone. I pulled up our budget spreadsheet. Monthly expenses, $4,200. Mortgage, $1,400. Utilities, $300. Groceries, $600. Insurance, $400. Car payments, $800. Maintenance, $400. Miscellaneous, $300. 4 years of that, every penny from my paycheck, while she hoarded hers. I made a decision and started researching. In Colorado, financial manipulation in marriage can constitute economic abuse. More importantly, joint accounts can be modified by either party. And most crucially, my company's payroll allows direct deposit changes submitted by Tuesday to take effect Friday. The next morning, I mentioned it casually to Tony during our site walkthrough. Hypothetically, if someone's spouse was hoarding money while making the other person pay all bills, that's messed up, right? Tony stopped mid-step. "You talking about Harper?" "Hypothetically." "Rodriguez, that ain't hypothetical. That's theft. My ex tried pulling similar garbage. You know what I did?" "What?" "Made her pay her own way. Equal partnership or no partnership. You can't let someone bleed you dry just because you wear a ring." Miguel, our electrical contractor, overheard. "My sister went through this. Had her husband convinced she was crazy for wanting him to contribute. Took 3 years and a divorce lawyer to get her head straight." "What happened?" "She realized she wasn't his wife. She was his ATM with benefits. Soon as she cut him off financially, he showed his true colors. Now she's married to a guy who actually partners with her. Tuesday morning, I walked into my bank. The teller, Kevin, recognized me from years of deposits. Direct deposit change, Mr. Rodriguez? Yeah. Need to open a personal account. Everything okay with the joint account? Let's just say I'm learning about real partnership. He nodded knowingly. We see this more than you'd think. Want me to set up the new account with automatic transfers? No transfers. Clean break. Smart. Here's the paperwork. 1 week later was payday. For 4 years, my direct deposit hit the joint account at midnight Friday. Harper had automatic transfers set up. $500 immediately moved to her emergency fund every payday. She had phone alerts for all deposits too. Thursday night, she was online shopping. Mason, your check hits tomorrow, right? I'm getting those Jimmy Choos I showed you. Only $800 on sale. My check hits tomorrow, I confirmed. Perfect. Don't complain about shoes. You spend money on your stupid tools. I didn't mention those tools were for fixing our house, or that I hadn't bought any equipment in 2 years. No point arguing with someone who sees your work equipment as frivolous spending while dropping $800 on shoes. Friday, 12:01 a.m. Her phone buzzed, then buzzed again, then started ringing. What the hell? Harper called from the bedroom. Something's wrong with the bank app. What's wrong? Your deposit didn't come through. It's showing balance as 2+10. That's weird. She stormed into the living room, phone in hand. Call your payroll. This is unacceptable. We have auto pay bills. Payroll's closed. Nothing I can do tonight. She spent the next hour refreshing the app, calling the bank's automated line, getting increasingly frantic. Her automatic transfer failed. Her shoe order was declined. Morning came. She was up at 6 a.m., laptop open, bank website loaded. Still nothing. What did you do? I took your advice. What advice? You said my salary is my business, so I decided my salary is my business. Color drained from her face. You what? Open my own account. My direct deposit goes there now. The joint account's still open with $2 in it. You can't do that. Why not? Your money is yours. My money is mine. That's equality, right? That's not how marriage works. Your money is our money. And your money? She couldn't answer. Just stood there opening and closing her mouth like a fish. Then came tears, then anger, then phone calls to her mother, Dorothy. 3 days later, Harper tried everything. Saturday, she cooked my favorite meal, wore that dress I liked, kept touching my arm. Baby, I understand you're upset. Let's talk about this. We're partners. Partners contribute equally. I contribute. I cook. I clean. I also cook and clean. Plus, I've paid 100% of our living expenses for 4 years. Want to see the spreadsheets? Sunday, she switched to fury, started slamming doors, throwing things, muttering about financial abuse. Posted on Facebook about controlling husbands without naming names. Her friends commented about red flags and the toxic masculinity. I commented, interesting perspective from someone with $120K in personal savings, while their spouse pays all bills. She deleted the post within minutes. Monday morning at the job site, Tony approached me during our safety meeting. Rodriguez, you look different. What's up? Made some changes at home. About time. You've been walking around like a beaten dog for months. The crew noticed. Miguel joined us. Harper finally contributing to bills? Something like that. Good. Man shouldn't have to carry dead weight just because he's married. My wife and I split everything 50-50. That's real partnership. Carlos, our newest hire, looked confused. Wait, your wife wasn't paying bills? 4 years of nothing, I said. Every grocery run, every utility payment, every mortgage payment. All me. Dude, that's not a wife. That's a dependent. At least dependents don't spend your money on designer bags. The guys laughed, but it was supportive laughter. These men understood the value of honest work and fair partnerships. Monday evening, Harper went nuclear. Came home to find her parents, Dorothy and Kenneth Wallace, in our living room. How dare you financially abuse our daughter? Dorothy started immediately. By keeping my own paycheck like she keeps hers? Kenneth jumped in. Men are supposed to provide. That's your job. Cool. Where's that written in our marriage certificate? You're being a child. Real men don't act like this. Real partners don't hoard 120Ks while their spouse struggles to replace a water heater. That's when Harper made her biggest mistake. I want you out. This is my house, too. Actually, check the deed. I bought this house before we married. Never added your name, just like you never added mine to your savings account. The silence was beautiful. You're going to leave my daughter homeless? Dorothy screeched. She has $120K. She can buy her own house. Harper grabbed her phone, made a call on speaker. Hi, Kevin. It's Harper Martinez. I need to make a large withdrawal from my personal account. What amount, Mrs. Martinez? $30,000. I see some unusual activity flags. For security, large withdrawals require 3 to 5 business days. Turns out trying to suddenly withdraw $30K to teach me a lesson triggers fraud protection. Who knew? 1 week later, Harper's dirty tricks started immediately. First, she called my boss, James Fletcher, at the construction site to tell him I was having a mental breakdown and making irrational financial decisions. James pulled me aside during lunch. Hey man, your wife called. Everything okay at home? She's upset I stopped depositing my paycheck into her shopping fund. One of those situations. My ex tried similar stuff during our divorce. We're not divorcing yet. Well, for what it's worth, payroll confirmed your direct deposit change was legitimate. HR wants me to document her call, though. Seems like harassment. The crew was working nearby and overheard. Tony shook his head. She called your work? That's crossing lines, Rodriguez. Desperation move, Miguel added. When they can't control you at home, they try to mess with your livelihood. Carlos looked angry. That's evil. Trying to get a man fired because he won't bankroll her lifestyle? My ex did similar garbage. What happened with your ex? I asked. Restraining order. Judge didn't like her calling my supervisor claiming I was unstable. Turns out that's harassment. Tuesday, Harper tried accessing my new account. Went to the branch with our marriage certificate, claiming she forgot she was supposed to be added. The bank called me. Sir, your wife is here trying to add herself to your personal account. That's not my wife. My wife would know she needs my signature for that. Understood. We'll handle it. I could hear Harper screaming when they told her no. Wednesday was the masterpiece. Came home to find the locks changed. New deadbolts with a note. Since you want everything separate, I'm separating you from the house. I laughed. Actually laughed. Called a locksmith while standing on my own porch. Legally, if your name's on the deed and hers isn't, the locksmith started. I know, just get me in my house. While waiting, I called police for a civil standby. Officer Rodriguez showed up looking bored until I explained the situation. So she changed locks on a house she doesn't own after hoarding money while you paid bills and calling your workplace? Yep. Sounds like you need a lawyer, not a locksmith. Already got one. When Harper came home to find me inside with a police officer, her face was priceless. What are you doing here? I changed those locks. Ma'am, you can't lock someone out of their own property, Officer Rodriguez explained. We're married. It's community property. Like your savings account? Ma'am, is your name on the deed? No, but then you committed a crime. He could press charges. I didn't press charges, but I handed her something else. Here's a rental agreement. If you want to stay, rent is $1,200 monthly, half the mortgage and expenses. First month due immediately. You can't charge me rent. I'm your wife. You're right. Partners split things evenly. So you owe me $100 for 4 years of back expenses. The rent option is me being generous. She went pale. I don't have that much liquid. I thought you had $120K saved. That's invested. It's tied up. So untie it, sign the rental agreement, or find somewhere else to live. 2 weeks later, Harper tried one final power play, called a family meeting at her parents' house, invited my parents Maria Santos and Eddie Martinez, my sister Ashley Rodriguez, her whole family. Ambush style. I showed up with a folder of documents. Harper was center stage, tears flowing, surrounded by her support system. I'm so scared. He's become controlling, abusive, threatening to make me homeless. Kenneth looked stern. Son, this has gone far enough. A man provides. That's how it's always been. Interesting. I opened my folder, pulled out 4 years of bank statements. Let me provide some context. I laid out the evidence. 4 years of paychecks totaling $201,600 into the joint account. Harper's contribution? $0. Money isn't everything, Dorothy protested. You're right. Let's talk about labor. More papers. Here's receipts for the housekeeping service I pay for. Here's meal delivery receipts when she stopped cooking. Here's the lawn service, the car maintenance, everything. My mom, bless her, stood up. Wait, you haven't contributed anything in 4 years. I contribute emotionally. My sister Ashley laughed. Emotionally? You called his work. You changed his locks. That's emotional terrorism. I pulled out more documents. Police report from the lock incident, HR complaint from workplace harassment, bank fraud alert from her trying to access my account. Those are misunderstandings. Here's her Instagram from yesterday. $2,000 purse with caption, retail therapy because hubby's being mean. Paid for with whose money? That's my money. I saved it. So your money is yours, but my money is ours? Yes, that's how marriage works. The room went quiet. Even her parents looked uncomfortable. My dad, who'd been silent, finally spoke. That's not marriage, that's theft. Kenneth tried damage control. Perhaps counseling? We tried counseling. Year 4. Harper walked out when the therapist suggested financial partnership. The meeting ended with Harper storming out, her family shell-shocked, mine disgusted. Final month was educational. Harper refused the rental agreement, but wouldn't leave. We lived like hostile roommates while she tried everything to regain control. Attempted seduction twice. I reminded her intimacy requires trust, and I don't trust thieves. Daily tears until I started wearing headphones. Had friends blow up my phone until I changed numbers. At work, the crew kept checking on me. Tony brought extra lunch one day. Rodriguez, you eating okay? You look stressed. Living with someone who hates you because you won't fund their lifestyle isn't exactly peaceful. Why don't you just kick her out? Legally complicated. She won't sign the rental agreement, won't leave voluntarily. Divorce papers are filed, but it takes time. Miguel joined us. My cousin went through this. Ex-wife squatted in his house for months after he cut off her credit cards, made his life hell. What did he do? Documented everything, every tantrum, every threat, every attempt at manipulation. When it went to court, judge saw right through her victim act. Good advice. I'm keeping records of everything. Carlos nodded. Smart. Women like that twist everything to make themselves look innocent. Evidence don't lie. But the final straw came last week. Got home to find my power tools missing. My circular saw, nail guns, impact drivers, $6,000 worth of professional equipment gone. Harper was sitting on the couch smirking. I sold them, community property. My half of the money's in my account. Show me the receipts. She did, proud of herself. Sold $6,000 worth of professional tools for $2,000 to some pawn shop. Perfect. Those receipts prove you stole my property. Community property. I bought everything before we married. Have the receipts. It's legally mine, just like this house. Her smirk died. You just confessed to felony theft in writing. Over $5,000 makes it grand larceny in Colorado. You wouldn't dare? I called the police. They reviewed both sets of receipts, mine proving ownership, hers proving she sold them, and arrested her for grand theft. She spent the night in jail. Kenneth bailed her out and hired a lawyer who immediately called me. My client's willing to make restitution to avoid charges. Full replacement value, $6,000, plus she moves out immediately. That seems steep. Felony conviction seems steeper. Harper paid, had to liquidate investments, tax penalties must have hurt. She moved back with her parents the next day. Today, divorce papers were filed. Her lawyer sent a proposal. Alimony, half the house value, half my 401k. My lawyer literally laughed. She has $120K in savings, no ownership stake in the house, and documented financial abuse. She'll be lucky to walk away without owing him money. The house is mine. The tools are replaced and better. The joint account is closed. My paycheck is mine. Harper's been texting from her mom's phone, begging to work things out, saying she's learned her lesson and understands partnership now. I responded once. Your money is your business. My money is my business. That's what you wanted, right? That's not fair. I have expenses now. Rent at my parents', lawyer fees, tax penalties. Sounds like your business, not mine. At work, the atmosphere completely changed once word got out about her arrest. Tony clapped me on the back during our Monday morning meeting. Rodriguez, heard you finally got rid of the dead weight. How you feeling? Like I can breathe again. Miguel grinned. Bet your bank account's looking healthier too. First time in 4 years I've seen my full paycheck. Carlos shook his head. Man, I still can't believe she had you fooled that long. Stealing a man's tools? That's crossing sacred ground. Tools are a man's livelihood, Tony agreed. She might as well have stolen food off your table. James Fletcher, my boss, pulled me aside after the meeting. Mason, I want you to know the crew's been talking. What Harper did, calling here to mess with your job, that's beyond unprofessional. It's vindictive. I appreciate the support. We've all been there. Maybe not to that extreme, but we've all dealt with someone trying to control our finances or sabotage our work. You handled it right, documented everything, stayed legal, protected yourself. Learned from the best. This crew taught me the value of honest work and fair partnerships. That's what brotherhood's about, looking out for each other. The best part? Harper's Instagram went from designer bags and spa days to motivational quotes about starting over and knowing your worth. Her friends who called me controlling have been real quiet since the theft arrest went public. Dorothy called yesterday crying about how I'm ruining her daughter's life. I reminded her she raised a daughter who thought theft was a marriage strategy. Kenneth surprisingly texted, "I'm sorry, we failed her. Good luck, son." Harper's sister Ashley messaged me, asking if everything she'd heard was true. When I sent her the bank statements, she replied, "Holy shit, no wonder my boyfriend won't propose. He's probably terrified of this happening to him." My sister Ashley Rodriguez has been my biggest supporter throughout this whole mess. Mason, I'm proud of you. 4 years is a long time to be taken advantage of, but you found your backbone and handled it perfectly. Thanks, should have done it sooner. Doesn't matter when, matters that you did it. Mom and Dad are proud too. They were worried Harper was turning you into a doormat. They never said anything. Wasn't our place. But when someone shows their true colors like she did at that family meeting, all bets are off. Tomorrow I meet with a realtor, selling the house, buying something smaller, closer to work, fresh start, my salary's going into my account, every penny. Might take myself on vacation. First one in 6 years, I won't have to budget around someone else's shopping addiction. Tony suggested a guy's trip to Vegas. Rodriguez, you've been working overtime to pay for her lifestyle for 4 years. Time to spend some money on yourself. Vegas sounds perfect. Poker, steaks, shows, all the stuff you couldn't afford because you were funding designer purses. Miguel laughed. Bet it feels good walking into stores without checking your bank balance first. You have no idea? Yesterday I bought new work boots without calculating if we'd have enough for groceries. That's freedom, brother. To everyone saying I should have known better, you're right. Red flags were there from the beginning. When someone insists their money is separate but yours is shared, that's not partnership. When they justify never contributing because that's what husbands do, that's exploitation. When they change locks on your house after calling your workplace to sabotage your career, call the cops, not a marriage counselor. But here's what I learned from my crew. From guys who've been through divorces and bad relationships. Sometimes you need to see how far someone will go before you realize who they really are. Harper could have stopped at any point, could have contributed to the water heater, could have accepted the new arrangement when I opened my own account, could have signed the rental agreement and stayed. Instead, she chose escalation every time. Workplace harassment, bank fraud attempts, changing locks, stealing tools. Each choice revealed more of her character until even her own parents couldn't defend her anymore. The guys at work taught me that real partnerships require mutual respect and contribution. They showed me what brotherhood looks like, having your back when someone tries to destroy your livelihood. They reminded me that a man's tools and his work are sacred, and anyone who threatens those is threatening his ability to provide for himself and his family. Lesson learned. Expensive lesson, but learned. Edit. Yes, this is all legal and documented. Yes, the tool theft charge is real. No, she can't get alimony with $120K in savings. Premarital assets don't become community property in Colorado. And no, I'm not taking her back, no matter how much she learns her lesson. Edit 2. Harper created a TikTok about being a financial abuse survivor. Comments aren't going her way. Someone found this post and linked it. Top comment. Girl really thought she invented an infinite money glitch and got a system error instead. Time to build something better.